For more on all of this, let's bring in former federal prosecutor Neama Rahmani, live from Los Angeles. Good to have you with us.
Oh, thanks for having me, Rosemary.
So let's start with the shooting itself. We know that Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem initially claimed Alex Pretty was brandishing a weapon, and she said he was there to inflict maximum damage on individuals. Turns out none of that was true, given the phone footage we've seen, and now the department says it has this multiple officer body camera footage that is currently under review. So how critical will all of this be to the investigation, and how will the agency defend its actions legally against any case brought against it, given what we know?
Rosemary, that video evidence that you pointed to is critical. People can lie, but video doesn't lie. And I think Secretary Noem's, most damning statement was that these were defensive shots. Well, when you shoot someone from point blank who doesn't even appear to have his hand anywhere near that firearm, well, that's a problem. As lawyers, we know that deadly force can only be used when an officer or the public, they're at imminent risk of death or serious bodily injury. That doesn't appear to be the case here. So when you have a rush to judgment, you have no investigation, and you have a video that completely contradicts what Noem, Bovino, and other government officials are saying, that's a problem for both the public trust as well as all the other law-abiding men and women who put on a uniform.
And President Trump now says that he wants the investigation into this fatal shooting to continue, and he has removed top Border Patrol official Greg Bovino from his post, replacing him with Tom Homan, after the Trump administration came under increasing pressure in the wake of this fatal shooting of Pretty. So how might this impact the legal ramifications of the case, do you think?
Well, I think President Trump realizes that even Republicans on Capitol Hill believe that this is a problem. The second apparently unjustified shooting in just the span of a couple of weeks. Now, so Bovino's out, Holman's in, but really you have HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, that are conducting this investigation. Typically, it would be the FBI, really under the direction of the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department. We know a lot of senior officials have left that division within the DOJ, so they're not conducting the investigation. But I think the political reality, Rosemary, is that federal charges are unlikely in either the Pretty case or the Renee Good case, which means it would be up to state officials and probably Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison if he decides to file charges at the state level, because I can't see the feds charging any of these agents with murder or manslaughter, given today's political climate.
Right. And what about the lawsuit that the Minnesota Attorney General is bringing against ICE to get them out of the state? How is that progressing? And does it look like President Trump's change in ICE leadership, and of course the reduction in Border Patrol agents there, is moving in that direction after his phone call with the Minnesota governor and the Minneapolis mayor?
Well, Rosemary, I do believe that the shootings were excessive force, but I don't think the Minnesota Attorney General had a good case to kick ICE out entirely. And we heard Judge Menendez today. She denied the state's motion for a temporary restraining order. She's going to take a few days to rule on a preliminary injunction. But the reality is that federal law is supreme, and our immigration laws are exclusively a federal prerogative. And that makes sense. You can't have states enforcing their own immigration laws inconsistently. So for those reasons, what you see is the state of Minnesota, they're trying to say that this is unlawful commandeering under the 10th Amendment. Well, that happens when the federal government really takes control of state personnel, and that's not necessarily happening here. So I do believe the government and the Trump administration will win in their lawsuit against the state of Minnesota. Now, that doesn't mean that the ICE raids are good policy at all, but I think from a legal perspective, the federal government does have the upper hand here.
Neama Rahmani, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Of course, Rosemary. Thanks for having me, as always.
Thank you.